special, very spooky Halloween episode of You've Gotta Hear This. Woo!
Woohoo!
Hi,
I didn't get the
guys.
mask memo.
Yeah, sorry, I should have said something before we started that it was gonna be a Halloween mask thing.
You were too busy hunting in pairs.
Opening doors. You were too busy opening doors.
Yes, opening doors and chasing children and running into the reflection that they created to trick me. Damn kids.
I lost $5 in a bet one time. I bet my friend that he told me that Kirsten Dunst. I told him that Kirsten Dunst was in Jurassic Park, and he told me that Kirsten Dunst was not in Jurassic Park. And I said, I will bet you $5 that she is, and she's not. She's not in Jurassic Park.
So now Kristen Dunst fact. You know who she's married to?
Who?
I do not know.
Landry from Friday Night Lights.
No way.
Yep.
Good for Landry.
Mm-hmm.
Holy
Good for her.
moly.
She's got all that Breaking Bad money now. So
Oh, it's that guy who's also in Breaking Bad?
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, hi guys. It's been a long time, in the words of
It
Steve.
has been.
It's been
As
a
Stan would say, it's
while.
been a while, yes.
How is everybody doing? I'm going to take the mask off now. That's enough.
Okay.
Doing
It's
great.
good to be back. Thank you for having me.
I'm
Joe
glad-
had a baby.
Yeah, I'm a
Yeah.
dad now. This is the first
Joe's a
episode
dad.
where I'm a dad.
Yeah, how about that? You are a
I can't-
dad of a 3-week-old baby now.
Yep. Baby
I can't
girl.
call him daddy anymore. It just feels weird.
Papa Joe. Yeah, it's been awesome. It's incredible.
What's been the craziest part about having a baby so far, 3 weeks in?
That you're holding a tiny version of yourself almost, like that it looks like she looks very much like me, and I look at my baby pictures and they look like her.
That would be funny if it was literally a tiny version of yourself. Like if it was you exactly
With
as
the beard
long,
and
but a
everything.
but
Yeah.
a foot long.
Yeah, but you think of that and they're like, that's one of the craziest things. I don't know, this is a lot. Waking up, like sleeping in shifts where you're waking up like every 3 hours, every 4 hours, is pretty insane.
Yeah.
But no, she just started like smiling like yesterday, so that's awesome.
Oh wow.
Yeah, all of it's been crazy, but I think the craziest thing is just to be like, this was me at one point, you know what I mean? Like I went through this and everyone went through this age, and my wife and I and family members that come to visit are like everything keeping her alive, and that's just crazy. But your instincts, no, the craziest thing is your instincts. Like you have instincts that kick in once you have a kid that you didn't have before. Like Amanda got out of the bed funny before she gave birth. She got out of the bed, like she rolled out kind of funny, and I thought she was falling out of the bed. So I woke up out of a sound sleep, or maybe just not sleeping very deep or whatever it was. I jumped out and like lunged at her to catch her, and she's like, "What are you doing?" And I scared the living shit out of her, but I never would have done that before. And like little things like that.
Yeah. Like a sixth dad sense.
Yeah, like your babies cry, and then when you hear other babies cry really loud, it's like awful. But when it's your own, you're like used to it somehow, and it's fine. I mean, it's still abrasive and it's still a lot to take in, and it still causes anxiety and stress, but it's like a diet version of anyone else's kid crying.
That is true. That is very
She didn't cry the whole time we were there last week. That was nice.
I know, that was amazing. Yeah, she usually just cries mostly at night. And we're still learning like the amount to feed her, and just to kind of feed her on her own like means. Like if she wants to eat, feed her. But we had with the hospital we went to, everyone was giving us different instructions and certain amounts per hour and stuff like that. And the baby's like, fuck all of that. I don't want you to do any of that. I want you just to feed me as much as possible all the time, anytime. So
yeah. If it's too much, they'll throw it
they'll
up.
let you know. Yeah, they'll let you know.
That's how you find out if it's too much, is you just wait for them to throw it up.
Just comes right back out, and you say, I guess that was too much.
That's when I know I've had too much to drink.
Yeah, very similar.
Very similar.
Yeah. Yeah, taking care of a baby is a lot like taking care of a small drunk. Like somebody who's just
A
really
very small drunk.
Very small. The smallest of drunks.
Yeah, it's crazy. Have you taken the baby out anywhere, like on your own, like when you've had to run errands or anything? Yeah.
Not by myself. No,
Okay.
it's always been us together. We've gone to Target. We've gone to her, her appointments, and that's it. So
Yeah.
the only place outside of her appointments was going to Target today.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, I just remembered very clearly for some reason the first time with my son, he was probably about a month old, and I went to Starbucks in the morning for the first time with a baby. And I remember like getting him out of the car, walking into Starbucks and be like, okay, so now I've got to do like what I would normally do at Starbucks, but also like take care of this small baby. And like, it felt really, really weird. And also kind of like, no one really told me like how I'm supposed to handle this situation, or like if I need to change the diaper, or if he like spits up in the middle of Starbucks, just like, man, there's a whole new world of things I have to think about everywhere I go now.
Mhm.
And which is, very obvious to anybody who has had a baby, but I don't know, the first time that hits you, like, oh my God, this is my life now. This is what I do.
Yeah, everything has changed. And what I do is when there's like free time, I'll just like go through a checklist. I'll be like, okay, the bag that the diaper bag, I'll just start filling it before we're going out. Like I'll just put like 5 diapers in there and like formula bottles and just put it in there beforehand. So when it is time to go and we're late to something, it's already done.
Yeah, that is smart.
Yep.
Smart thinking.
That's what I've been doing.
See, Mike and Greg, see what you're missing out on?
I mean, I'm okay.
You just live your life all carefree, going places whenever you want, doing whatever you feel like.
Mm-hmm.
Playing
last weekend.
What'd you do last weekend?
I woke up at 11 o'clock in the morning the other day.
Oh, wow.
Good for
It was
you.
crazy. I also worked very late, but it was nice to just sleep.
Yeah, you've been working like crazy, right?
Like crazy. People love. People want to get married.
Well, everybody had to postpone their weddings, right? So everyone's probably catching up now, right?
Yeah, we had our last COVID bride, I think last weekend, so we're done. We're back to the regular folks now, which is nice. Man, people just forget how to act in public, I think.
Do they ever know?
I
think they ever knew. It's very optimistic of you.
I think they're just, the general public is just batshit crazy these days.
Yeah, I think that's a thing.
It's okay though.
Yeah, and Mike, you for the first time are not sitting in front of your 2 pools.
No. I'm actually calling from the Twin Towers today.
You're going for it again.
Jesus.
Terrible. Definitely edit that out.
I know a lot of people. No, leave it in. It might be a little too soon, but I know a lot of people listen to this and don't watch it. But this is our Halloween. This is our Halloween podcast.
Sorry.
Greg's dog was offended by that.
Yeah, well,
It's too soon. We got to wait till the 40th anniversary. Too soon.
Anyway. Yeah. I'm calling from the office today. I had to go into work.
Yeah, I don't think
for having me.
It looks like you're working really hard.
yeah.
I'm the only one here. I'm literally the only one here.
Oh, wow.
Is there a janitor on your floor?
Is there a what?
A janitor?
There is, yeah.
Does he have a hook? Does he have a hook for an arm?
Yes. If I say his name 6 times, if I say janitor, janitor, I'm too scared to do 2 more, but if I do, he'll appear behind me. And then the oddest thing, he also has a mouthful of bees. I've got a real life Candyman story. I don't know. I think I've talked about this on the podcast before, but I've met Candyman. Tony Todd used to work out at the YMCA where I used to be a personal trainer at. And in real life, I know in the movie, he's got a hook for a hand and a mouthful of bees. But in real life, he doesn't have either of those two things. But he also tucks his T-shirt into his sweatpants when he works out. So next time you watch Candyman, just remember that in real life, he tucks his T-shirt into his sweatpants. And do you know who else tucks their T-shirt into their sweatpants? Ron Livingston from the star of Office Space, the guy who played Peter Gibbons, also in Band of Brothers. He also tucks his T-shirt into his sweatpants.
I do that sometimes, like at night when I'm going to bed.
Really? What's the benefit of that?
Keeps the body heat in. Like a chilly night, you know.
Okay. Well, there you go. This has been celebrities who tuck their shirts into their sweatpants. You got to hear this.
I hope you don't get sued for slander from Ron Livingston.
No, he knows what's up.
Yeah, someone must have snapped a picture of him at some point. We can prove that it's true.
Hope we don't get sued by Bum Equipment or Bugle Boy.
Structured Jeans. Structured Jeans is coming for us. What are we talking about today? What's today's topic?
Today, on this very special episode, we are talking about the scariest songs of all time. And I think this is going to be an interesting one. I'm interested to see where everyone went with it. I think there's going to be some different directions, and I'm excited to see what they are. Joe, you volunteered to go first, so let's hear what you think is one of the scariest songs of all time.
So originally I was thinking, like theme songs, and if I was to pick one, it would be the Exorcist theme song is my number one. But I'm going to go based on my own experience. What song scared me the most after hearing it for the first time or reading the lyrics? So I'm a big fan of heavy music. I grew up in a pretty diverse music scene in Massachusetts, where we'd have, softer bands, indie bands, playing the same shows as a lot of metal, punk, and hardcore bands. So I got a lot of exposure to heavy music, even though I wasn't ever really in a heavy band myself. And these are the lyrics. So I'm just going to give you the lyrics of what I think affected me the most as far as being scared by a song, which is hard to do because music's not really, I don't really find a lot of songs scary, even heavy songs. But I read the lyrics to this band's probably about 2 albums worth of lyrics, and then had horrific nightmares, which says something within itself, So these are the lyrics. It's called "The Girl in the Slayer Jacket," and it says, "The girl in the Slayer jacket gave me my first kiss when I was in 7th grade. She used to smoke weed with my older sister in the woods behind the arcade. She had thick skin, but if you cut her, the wound would bleed forever. She hung herself from an overpass down in McLean, where the old trees loom. Her parents tried to sue Slayer. They blamed her boyfriend in PCP. But the truth is in her eyes. She had been dead since she was 5. They just hadn't disposed of her body." And this song scares me because it's so specific. And this writer writes fiction, like his songs are fictional from as far as I know. But when someone makes something really specific and it's about a girl hanging herself, or, and putting that, like, this was your first kiss, and putting in street names and locations, to me, that's like, oh, fuck, that's real. Like, as a listener, I'm like, God damn. And the line where he says, she hung herself from an overpass where the old trees loom. I'm like, Jesus Christ. So that was a line that gave me a nightmare of, like, seeing a visual like that the same night. Band is called Pig Destroyer. The album is called Phantom Limb, which is one of the coolest album names ever. It's their 7th release. Album came out in 2007. One of the members of Baroness and Torch did the artwork for this album. Pig Destroyer started in 1997 in Alexandria, Virginia. Their type of music is like a fusion between heavy metal and hardcore punk. That genre is called grindcore, started in the 1980s. The name came because the members were waiting in line to go, waiting in line at a roller coaster, and were thinking what was the most absurd punk rock name they could think of, and they were originally going to be called Cop Killer or Cop Destroyer, and they wanted something more tactful, I guess, and they went with Pig Destroyer. Band has 10 releases and then a 2-song EP making 11 releases. The singers put out a book, a short story called The Atheist, that came out with their album Book Burner. And yeah, man, I love heavy music, but I like reading this band more than anything. It's just like one of the most interesting lyricists in heavy music, in my opinion, that I've found. This Pig Destroyer is number one.
What is the song? Is the song or the band Phantom Limb?
So the album's called Phantom Limb.
Okay.
The band is called Pig Destroyer, and the song is called Girl in the Slayer Jacket.
Gotcha.
Did you ever look into or find out if there was any truth to the story, or if it was all fictional?
I assume it's fictional. Like, he is a writer. He's like he has put out a book. His lyrics are good enough where I don't know if he's going to put out more books. I mean, in the future he probably is, but I don't know how many books he has. I just know of one, like a short story that he put out. But his lyrics are so good that I think he could put out no music at all, and he's already put out his work into the world. And he's playing in a genre of music where he doesn't really have to rhyme. So his lyrics are a huge part of this band being successful in the genre. Is just, I think a lot of people that listen to this band, or half of them would probably just like the band just from reading the lyrics and not even listening to the rest of it. And I think a lot of people that love heavy music love this band. This band is, they're punk enough where it's very beat up in a good way, and it's technical enough where it's a really good metal overall. Like, it's really good metal music overall, but it's recorded in a way, in like a beat up like punk production, that just gives this band so much validity. And no matter how old they are, they never get into that zone of like, oh, it's too well recorded. You never get that feeling from this band. And yeah, I just love them. I can show you some more lyrics if you want, but some of them are really fucked up, and they're like shock value lyrics. But the first song I ever heard was called Star Belly, and he has lines that are like, he said, Christ, it hurts like stars in my belly going supernova. I feel like a zombie that refuses to live, haunting the junkyards and cutting myself on scraps of you. And it's like, Jesus Christ, I love, you know what I mean? Like, this band has made me want to keep doing music just by reading the lyrics, even though I don't play in a heavy band or really ever have. This dude puts so much care into his words that it's very inspiring to me as a writer. But yeah, he literally ends a song on, I can't say, there's some lines that are too gross to really say, so I'm not even gonna.
Yeah, I mean, you've got a baby now in the room right down the hall. You can't.
Yeah, but one of the lines on the last line of that song, he's just like, the other day I used a picture of you. It was you at your birthday party. That's what I'll say. I'll say used instead of the word he uses. They were the only ones I still had. It felt so wrong. Just like my life. I hope I'm dead by the time you read this. I love you. And the song ends. And then the song ends, and you're just like, Jesus fucking Christ. So it's like it's got a lot of shock value in there too, but not all the songs are like that.
Man.
Last one. I'll just do this. Is the last one. This is a really cool. This one reminds me of horror movies in the best sense, not gross or anything. The title of the song is Phantom Limb, off of Phantom Limb, and he goes, "It came to me in my sleep, green lights spilling from its mouth all over me, laughter that sounds like metal scraping, eyes like a pair of atoms splitting, face like a funhouse mirror twisting. I put my hand up to the wall and it passed right through. You should have been there. You could have come with me." Like, 10 out of 10. Kills it.
Damn.
That's terrifying. I don't know if I like that at all.
Good. That's what you know what I mean. It's not for everybody, and That's another thing I love about this band. But he's on a level. He's on a I don't know if it's like a Stephen King level, but he's on a very high poetry level that he's been writing clearly for a long time. And every word is very specific and picked out. So
I'm gonna check that out. I wonder what you do. What do you put that song on to do? Like some people have a gym playlist, some people have a going out playlist.
Jim,
Like
I think people
what
work
do you
out to
put
this
that
band.
on before you go do?
I think people work out to Pig Destroyer. In this genre, there's a lot of bands you can't really hear what the lyrics are. It just sounds like screaming over heavy music, and you're mostly listening to the drums and the guitar.
That's what you listen to before you put somebody into a saw trap. Like while you're applying a bear trap to somebody's face because of their ironic hubris, you're also listening to Phantom Limb.
Dude, it's so good. All the album titles are so good. I have an album called Terrifier.
Whenever you're recording the tape that you're going to put into the voice box and the puppet on your wheelchair that you're going to push out into the when the cops burst down, that you're listening to Phantom Limb.
Yeah. Dude.
I thought Phantom Limb was pretty good. I would give it a 7 out of 10. I think Jar Jar Binks really ruined it for me though.
the Phantom Menace. Yeah,
that
their
was
album.
Phantom Menace. Okay.
Their other album, my favorite album by them, is called Prowler in the Yard. And so heavy. Yeah, everything's so spooky and heavy, but it's done where it's not corny. It's done in like I had nightmares from reading lyrics of this band. Like they win for me for scariest.
Like literally though, like you're saying for real, you had actual nightmares? Wow.
Yeah, 100%. Yep. I had a nightmare of someone hanging from an overpass, like jumping off, and I woke up like, oh fuck, that sucked.
Hey, stop.
G-Dog is upset.
He doesn't like this. He doesn't like Phantom Limb either.
Destroyer.
Big Destroyer.
So I ended up going with a band too, and I don't know, Greg and Mike, if you ended up going the route of a song by a band or a like a soundtrack or a theme song or something. I have a feeling, Mike, you must. I'm gonna say you must have gone with a theme song, right?
No, I did not. I was going to, but then yeah. But then I'm really proud of my pick, so I'll get to mine later.
Oh, wow.
What did you go with? You go first, and then I'll go.
So when Joe suggested doing scariest song, my first thought was, well, like songs just. To me, the idea of a song being actually frightening, as like I can't even really imagine that. You know, it's just not. I think typically it's not something that happens very often to people, or I don't know. At least it hasn't to me very much. But then I started thinking back, and something came back to me, and it actually made me really excited for the topic. And it's a very specific song and a very specific time and place that needs a little bit of background to explain, but I think it's well worth it. So I thought back to being a teenager and a time that I got frightened actually by a song, and so I must have been about 16, maybe 17 years old, and Tool, the band, had just come out with their album Undertow, and Tool is pretty well known now. You know, they're not like a pop band, you know, or anything like that, but most people are aware of Tool. But this was their first album, and like nobody really knew that much about them. They were purposely like not in their videos. The only pictures they had in the CD was just like, you could see half their face, and they had like pins stuck through their skin and like weird stuff like that. And like a giant picture, well, it wasn't giant because it was a CD, but it was like the size of the CD case, like inside, it was like just a big picture of a nude woman, a giant fat nude woman curled up in the fetal position in like a
I remember it.
photo.
I remember that.
You have this on CD at the time, so you might.
I didn't have it, but I had a friend that did. My friend
Okay.
JB Meacham had it.
Yeah, and then their music is, you know, very heavy and dark and kind of, you know, minory, all very sort of like sad and dark sounding. And their lyrics are also dealt with a lot of really dark subject matter. And so the whole experience of listening to Tool at that time was a little bit, I wouldn't say creepy, but it was like a dark experience.
It was edgy. It was edgy.
It was a little bit edgy. Yeah, I would say. I felt at least at that time I was a little on the edge. I also was probably 2 years out from having just listened exclusively to Christian music. So that jump somewhere from like exclusively listening to DC Talk to Tool about 2 or 3 years later was a pretty big one. I don't even know how it happened that quickly. I guess I kind of eased in with Pearl Jam and Nirvana, and then it was all downhill from there. I guess, yeah, and then like Alice in Chains was sort of the gateway into really dark, fucked up music that I started to enjoy. So anyway, so that's the little background on Tool's first album, and I was listening to it, and so I was listening to it one night, and I don't think I'd ever gotten to the end of the album. And I happened to get through the whole album. And so what happens after the last song on the album is there's a hidden track, but what they did is the CD starts skipping. It skips 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and it starts skipping and going up and up and up. And then it stops on like track 67, and there's like a couple seconds of silence, and then 68, and there's a couple seconds of silence, and then it gets to track 69, and this like weird drum beat starts, and the sound of these lambs bleating, is that the word? I think.
Oh Jesus! Yeah.
The lambs make whatever.
Yep.
They start hearing, you know, like these lambs and this weird like drum beat, and then just kind of like these weird, just it's not really like music. It's kind of just like noises in the background, and this weird kind of tribal beat just going over and over, and that starts happening, and then actually I re-listened to it yesterday, and the next thing that happens is kind of funny in retrospect. The singer comes on and does this whole like fake preacher voice, which at first
I remember this.
It sounds
I totally remember this.
And then so he gives this whole speech about the carrots, and the harvest day is like the Holocaust for carrots, and the carrots are crying out from the ground or something like that, and it's actually kind of funny, but the first time you hear it, it wasn't funny to me when I was 16 or 17. And especially I couldn't hear everything he was saying. So you just hear this weird preacher kind of talking over all this stuff. And then the closest thing to it being a song starts. And he just starts saying over and over again, this is necessary. Life feeds on life, feeds on this is necessary. This is necessary. Life feeds on life, feeds on life, feeds on this is necessary. And keeps like chanting that over and over again. And then there's like more noises, and something kind of starting to resemble music happens. And then like a sound of a shotgun. And then I actually found out yesterday, researching this, that they really recorded themselves shooting a shotgun in the studio. They set up in like an indoor parking lot that was attached to the studio, and set up these found these old secondhand pianos and fired shotguns into them and recorded it for the song. So that's kind of cool. But, you know, I mean, so you just hear these shotguns firing, and he keeps singing, this is necessary, and the lambs are making noises, and your CD just skipped 60 to track 69. And then it all stops, like after probably like 4 minutes of that, and nothing else really happens. It just kind of keeps going, and there's all these noises. And then there's cricket sounds for, I think seriously, it's about like 8 minutes. It's just crickets. And I ended up fast forwarding through the crickets, but I kind of kept stopping and listening because I had to see where it was going. And then after like 8 minutes of crickets, there's like a 1 minute spoken word message, and it sounds like someone talking on an answering machine, which I think it is. Supposedly, it was a real message that somebody left on an answering machine, which I don't know if that's true. I'll read just the beginning of it. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it starts out this guy saying, "It was daylight when you woke up in your ditch. You looked up at your sky then. That made blue be your color. You had your knife there with you too. When you stood up, there was goo all over your clothes. Your hands were sticky. You wiped them on the grass, so now your color was green." And then it goes about a minute or so like that, and it's just kind of an odd, creepy spoken word thing with the crickets in the background, and then it ends.
Jesus, that's horrifying.
Yeah. So now, like, listening back to it, I don't think any grown man would be like that, taken back by it. But at 16, when it comes out of nowhere like it did, and it was nighttime, I was shaken. Like I was actually scared by it. It was one of those things where I don't know if you remember that feeling when you were younger, where like you just have this feeling that you can't shake, of just sort of like creepiness and dread and like kind of fear, and it's just sort of like over you like a blanket or something, and you can't get rid of it even after nothing is happening anymore that's scary. And I had that for probably half an hour or so, just that feeling. And nothing like that has ever happened to me before or since with a song. But yeah, hands down, the scariest experience I've ever had with a song by a band.
If you don't know that's coming, that's very terrifying.
It's gotta be nuts.
That's how it gets you.
It turns a situation into like a scene out of like Stranger Things, or in so many movies where it's like, okay, I'm almost like an investigator right now. Like, where is this leading me? Yeah. And I know Tool, like I know that this was made, like that they did this on purpose. But if you're any younger, you might not know that, and you might be freaking the fuck out. And if you smoke weed and you're listening to that record for the first time, it doesn't matter what age you are, you're freaking out. Like, you're freaking the fuck out.
Fortunately, at that time in my life, I was dead sober. Oh my God, I would not have wanted to experience that as a teenager, high on marijuana.
No, that probably historically probably ruined more buzzes than any track in the history of music.
Can we bring that to Woods of Bulb?
I would love to. I think it would be cut down very quickly. Very quickly.
You know what's crazy? If you heard that song, as you probably did, I have to imagine, in the days before Google, how do you explain that to yourself? Because you can't hop on Google and say,
no,
what did I just listen to? Like, is this a real thing?
Yeah.
You kind of have to question your sanity until you...
Yeah.
But then you have to call somebody, and you have to be like, hey, man, this is going to sound crazy. Have you heard the Lamb song?
And I didn't have a lot of friends who had that particular CD. I think I had one friend. So like I had to wait until I could talk to him to find out if that happened to him too. Well, then my first thought was like, was there something like messed up with my particular CD too? Or was there some weird thing where or they only did it, with certain CDs? I didn't know. Cause they also did weird stuff with the artwork where there was things under the tray, and different albums or different versions of the same album had different weird photos underneath the CD tray. So there's all these
What was the name of the album?
It was called Undertow.
Undertow, yeah.
And the name of the song is Disgustipated.
You still wake up sometimes, don't you? You wake up in the dark and hear the screaming of the lambs.
You're such a nerd and a dumbass too.
I know.
It's kind of cool when you're the first one to find out about that, though. When you're the first one to hear it, and then you get to go to all your friends, and you can be the one to kind of turn them on to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's an experience that's in certain ways getting lost because because of, because you can just so easily go look up something online. So the second one person has experienced something, so then maybe there is going to be a small group of people that are the first, obviously, but they're going to go and broadcast it online.
Right on the internet.
And then lots of people are going to read about it before they even experience it. And it was a very different time and experience back then. And even now, listening to that album, it's on Spotify and all the streaming services, but you obviously can't recreate that skipping through the tracks, so it's just track 10. Like
there's nothing scary about a streaming software that's working correctly versus a analog number changing on your CD player.
Yeah.
That could be some kind of signal coming in out of your control. Especially if you don't pay for a subscription and the ads are coming up in between.
Are you guys familiar with the Atari game called Sword Quest? Is anybody here familiar with Sword Quest?
No.
Played a lot of Atari. I am not.
Are you heard of Ready Player One? Are you familiar with Ready Player One at all? Okay, so Sword Quest back in the 80s was a real life Ready Player One. So it was just this Atari video game. But every now and then you would go into a room. It was like you're running through a dungeon. And every now and then you would go into a room and like a letter would pop up or something. And then you would go stand somewhere and you would use your certain item and then like another letter would pop up. You're like, why are all these letters popping up? And there were 4 games in the Sword Quest series. And every now and then you would do something and like a symbol would come up. And then the games all came with a comic book, and you would read the comic book, and that symbol would be in the comic book right under a certain sentence. And all this just kind of happened. But if you were somehow able to connect the letters from the first game and then get the number and then go to the page on the comic book and get the other number and find the word, you would write it down and you would send it into Atari and you would win like $1 million. It was like the secret contest throughout a series of 4 Atari video games. But anyway, the whole point of bringing that up is like you can never do that nowadays with the internet. But before then, it's just kind of a fun scavenger hunt thing to do.
Did anyone actually win?
Yes. I'm glad you said that. So there are 4 games and there were 4 prizes. Like the first one was like a crown and the other one was like a sword and the other one was like a scepter or something. And somebody actually figured it out and won the first game. But then there was a video game crash and nobody won the other 3 prizes. And nobody knows.
What a coincidence.
No, but they
got to keep their money. Yeah.
There's photos of the 4 prizes out there, but nobody knows who they are. Everybody says like the CEO of Atari has them, but no, Sword Quest, man, it was pretty cool. Anyway.
Yeah.
This episode is not brought to you by Sword Quest or Atari or The Last of Us.
We've been trying to get Sword Quest to sponsor us for years.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit too late.
Yeah, I think Joe Rogan got them, but the most popular podcasts get the attention of Sword Quest.
I've got a funner song that's not as scary.
Okay. It better not be Monster Mash.
Like I said, before we started, I was saying that they have I had an HVAC guy that's coming in a certain window of time, and he's going to be here in like 3 minutes, so I do have to
look at it.
But I will watch the rest of the episode after.
All right,
online. Joe. Love you guys.
Love you too.
Bye.
Good to see you.
Bye.
All right, Greg. The floor is yours.
The floor is mine. Mike Baby introduced me to this song, actually.
Oh.
Yeah, that's you. You introduced me to this in Las Vegas at a dueling piano bar in the New York hotel. And you paid the man to play this song. And I was like, well, this song's pretty great. And it's from 1978. It is by a man, Warren Zevon.
Yes.
Werewolves in London.
Yeah.
It's not really Halloween themed, but when I think of Halloween and werewolves, they kind of go hand in hand. And then the fact that there's a werewolf reading a menu for a Chinese restaurant called Li Ho Fook. I mean, it's pretty entertaining.
Yeah.
Werewolf in London is great. He's got perfect hair.
And the video is pretty scary, so I'll chalk it up to that too.
There's a music video for it?
There is, yeah.
Oh, I've got to check that out.
It's just very creepy. I'm not gonna play it with the music on, but yeah, he just like I think he turns into a wolf as the video progresses. You might correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, but he gets.
I've seen that. Is he? So is it happening while he's singing and playing?
I think so. I'm gonna play here in the background with no music, but I mean he himself is kind of scary, but maybe he doesn't turn into a werewolf. Oh, there's a Dracula walking around. Maybe
I've never seen the video. So I don't know.
Another scary video could be also "Jump into the Fire" by Harry Nilsson. That's a very there's like some weird shit going on in cages and stuff. It's a very poorly shot video. Finding a good quality one is hard.
I've never seen the music video for "Jump into the Fire" either. I didn't know he made one.
Kind of dark and dingy, and I feel like they just shot it like in a dungeon somewhere.
It the way they use that song in Goodfellas, not exactly scary, but definitely anxiety producing.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's one of the best songs in a movie, I think.
Yeah, the way that
you know exactly what's happening.
Yeah, it really heightens that sense of paranoia and like craziness that Henry Hill is experiencing in that scene.
Yeah, this "Jump into the Fire" video is he's just like in a dungeon with cobwebs and the band's just going crazy and there's a bunch of weird characters walking around.
Oh man, I got to check that out as well.
That's a really good song. I like that song. I like "Werewolf in London" too. That song is very prominently featured in the film Color of Money when Tom Cruise is hustling those guys at pool. I don't
mind it. I only really listen to Werewolves in London like around Halloween too, because we'll listen to like Halloween playlists around the house just to get.
Yeah, me too. I'm
not breaking it out at like a 4th of July cookout or anything.
That's not on your cookout playlist.
We did talk about the Fat Boys.
I put it on right before I do it.
Mm-hmm. As you should.
Right as those lights are dimming, you hear that dun 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 dun, and then by then I'm done. After that part, I'm done.
Which makes sense.
You've already put your werewolf mask on and taken it off.
Yeah. That's what doing it is, right?
I know we talked about that Freddy Krueger song with the Fat Boys, but didn't Will Smith do one too? Like DJ Jazzy Jeff and...
yes.
He did.
Nightmare on My Street, is that what it was called?
It is.
I don't remember any of the words to it, but I remember that it was called that.
I prefer the Fat Boys song better.
I thought it was pretty... I had no idea that Freddy Krueger was a rapper. And
he had a guest verse.
Fat Boys. Yeah, that's something.
I don't even know if that was a guest verse. He was in it a lot.
Yeah.
He's doing the chorus. He's doing the verse. He's all over it.
Yeah, and it was the classic. If I remember, he's like, "My name is Freddy, and I'm here to say I'm in your dreams in a major way." Like he was one of his. He didn't have. He was no Eminem. He was no Slim Shady.
Oh my gosh, I'm looking at some of the lyrics for "Nightmare on My Street." It's pretty funny. It
is funny.
Now I have a story that I'd like to tell about this guy. You all know him. He had scared me. Wait, he had me scared.
He had me scared as hell.
Oh, you know this. Okay. He comes to me at night after I crawl into bed. He's burnt up like a weenie, and his name
is Fred. Yeah, I know this song. You just had to give me a little jump.
Everybody was jumping on the Freddy Krueger bandwagon. Nobody wrote any songs about Jason Voorhees.
No, Alice Cooper did. The Man Behind the Mask. The Man Behind the Mask is a fantastic song. Wow. Actually, there's a band called what's that band? FM something something. They wrote a song about Jason. I don't know. Yeah, Jason's got a few songs. Man Behind the Mask is really good though. By Alice.
Look that one up.
Yeah,
I prefer Jason over Freddy. That's a very debatable topic, but I'll give Jason gets all my money.
I like Freddy because he'll crack a joke before he kills you. And Freddy can turn into Freddy can turn into like a piece of toast, and then he'll hop out of a toaster and then stab. Like he can do whatever he wants to do because he's in your dreams.
World, right?
Yeah. I mean, what a great way to go. I want somebody to cut a joke before they kill me.
Okay, I'll remember to do that.
All right.
I'll dress up as Powdered Toast Man and just break into your house and slit your throat. But before I'll do that, I'll be like, "You want cinnamon on that?" Slit your throat.
That's not a joke. That's just a statement. You can't just say a sentence.
You got to think.
But you'll be reading a book about synonyms, so it will be funny.
Okay, it will be ironic. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say you got to think of a good toast pun. I don't have one off the top of my head, but
I'm grilling and chilling. I'm grilling and I'm killing. You can turn into like a burger, and you could be like, I'm grilling and I'm killing, and then just.
You know whose rap career never really took off? Is Chucky. I feel like he could have had a good rap career.
Oh yeah, I wonder if there's. You know who did there's a Leprechaun in the Hood. He had a couple of movies in the Hood, and I think Snoop Dogg was in one of them. But I don't know if Chucky ever had a rap song.
I don't think so. I know Leprechaun. Yeah, that was.
Did the Leprechaun rap though when he was?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Throughout the whole movie, he would do a rap before he killed you.
Wow.
Yeah. But he was a Leprechaun, so he was already gifted at limericks.
Right.
He already had that skill set.
It makes a lot of sense when you think about it.
He already had the skill set.
I think about that a lot, John, and it always makes sense.
It does seem like it would give people a lot of time to get away from the murdering situation while he's like sitting there rapping. I have not seen the movies. I don't know what kind of situations these people were in where he had time to rap before he committed the murder.
Well, maybe you can explain to me why you'd want to run away from a rapping leprechaun. If a leprechaun came up to you and started to rap, you're saying you wouldn't want to stay around to see how this was going to play out?
You know what? You've got a really good point there. You've got a very good point. I'd have no counterpoint to that.
Yeah. And if it happens to end with you dying, I'd be like,
yeah.
It's a good way to go. It's a good way to go.
Yeah. I have no regrets. It's the last thing I would think as I died.
Like, do you ever have like, you know how you get together with your buddies, like on Thanksgiving, maybe, and your friends from high school or from college would come back to your hometown, and you'd be like, have you guys talked to, has anybody heard from Scotty? And one of your buddies would be like, oh yeah, you didn't hear? He's dead. And you're like, oh, Jesus Christ, how did he go? What happened? Like, how great of a story. Like, listen, you're not going to believe. You're not going to believe this.
Try to steal my pot of gold, I'll put you in a stranglehold.
That's a real one. That's a real one.
I thought you.
I just came up with that.
Oh, did you come up with that? No, but that's a real thing that he does. So that might not be an actual rap from the movie, but that's in the stylings of the rapping leprechaun. What a way to go. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind.
Yeah. There are worse ways to go. All right, Mike. What do you got? I'm very interested to hear your choice.
Well, a lot of people say that art is subjective, but oh man, my phone is. Am I still there?
You're here.
Okay, yep, I'm still in. I'm pretty sure that my pick is correct. I have the right answer. My song is truly terrifying, and I think we're all about the same age. Are you guys familiar with an album called "Free to Be You and Me" by Marlo Thomas?
Yes.
I know. Okay, you strike me as the kind of guy that "Free to Be You and Me" would be very prevalent in your household, John.
It was not actually prevalent in my household, but it was very prevalent in Camille's household.
Okay, that tracks as well. That tracks as well.
As soon as when we first met, I don't know how it came up, but she started telling me about it because it's like something that she has a very, I think, kind of like mixed memories. I think she like had fond memories, but it also like it's pretty odd, and there's some weird songs, and I think it's one of those things you kind of still think about as an adult of like, huh, that kind of thing.
Yeah, ask Camille if she's familiar with my pick. So if you're listening to this and you don't know what Free to Be You and Me is, Free to Be You and Me was a very prominent record when I was a kid among my age group. And I'm talking maybe 83, 82. So I was super young when this came out. I was maybe 6 or 7. And Free to Be You and Me is this very hippie, very progressive record for the time. It was by a woman called Marlo Thomas, but she had a lot of guests on the album. I think Michael Jackson was on there, and I know Mel Brooks. There was a lot of songs, but there was also a lot of skits as well.
Yeah,
so
Alan
in that way,
Alda is on it, I remember.
Alan Alda is on there. Yeah, so in that way, Free to Be You and Me is kind of like the Chronic. It was the first Chronic. But it was very progressive. Free to Be You and Me was about how no matter how different you are, you're unique and beautiful. And there was a song on there about how boys can play with dolls. And there was a song on there called It's All Right to Cry. It was very progressive. But it was also very prevalent. Like every kid in my neighborhood had. But I remember there's a song on Free to Be You and Me, which was absolutely terrifying. And to this day, I just remember it scaring the absolute shit out of me. And the song was called Girl Land. It's a song called Girl Land on Free to Be You and Me. And I know a lot of people listening to this, and I've listened to podcasts where guys are like, you got to hear this. Go listen to this song. You don't do it. But I am begging all of you to listen to this song called Girl Land on Free to Be You and Me by Marlo Thomas. It's 2 minutes of your life. But what it is, it's like, so Marlo Thomas, who's very Amy Mann-y. She sounds like Amy Mann, very singer-songwriter-y. And it's a song about a girl who grows up and has to leave her childhood behind. But the way that, and so what it is, it's Marlo Thomas is doing the part of the girl. And then one of the guests on the album is this very creepy guy. And he comes in and he starts talking about, and while this is all going on, there's like that Circus Calliope, that dun, 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 dun. And so the background of the song is like Girl Land is this fictional place that you go to. It's like on Pinocchio. Do you remember Pinocchio when they all turn into donkeys? It's kind of very similar to that.
Creeped me. That always scared me when I was a kid.
It's very similar to that. So Marlo Thomas is like going to Girlland and dun, 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 and I'm brushing my hair and I'm twirling my dress. And then this guy comes in, he's like, welcome to Girlland. You'll never get, he's like, you go in a girl and you come out a lady. And then the next verse is something like, I'm going to Girlland, a magical place. I'm dancing with my dolls and we're all in the face. And then the guy's like, you come into Girlland, you never get out. And I was like, Jesus Christ, you never get out? And that's horrifying. But when I was a kid, it just scared me because it sounds scary. It's a very, very scary sounding song. But I went back and I listened to it for this podcast. And the theme of it is fucking horrifying. Like, he's right. You get to a point in your life where all of that shit goes away. It's very, very terrifying. I think they did a good job of manifesting that event in your life wonderfully in that song. I mean, the song is as terrifying as the actual phenomenon is. So yeah, so Girlland, horrifying song, even to this day. I'm reading
the lyrics right now. Wow, yeah. This is one little thing from the Ringmaster. Wonderful Girlland, the island of joys, where good little girls pick up after the boys.
Oh yeah, I think the song might also be about fucking, but I don't know.
So but yeah, dude, you look out. You go in a girl and you never get out. Ha ha. Yeah, you gotta listen. That wasn't me. You gotta listen to the song. The guy really sells he really nails his verses. Yeah. But yeah, Girlland by Marlo Thomas, horrifying song. Wow, I'm surprised. I was really expecting you to go with something from a horror movie, a song, somehow related to that. Was not expecting Free to Be You and Me.
I can't wait to see Camille. I want to talk to her about Free to Be You and Me. I've never met.
I bet she could really get into it with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
A lot of people don't. A lot of
she
people
started
don't know this,
telling
but
me about it, and I didn't really know anything about it. So as she was explaining it to me, I was like, "What? This doesn't sound real." And then like we found it somewhere and listened through to it together, and it's really interesting.
it really is from T to B. It's an experience from top to bottom. It really is. It's an interesting listen.
Yeah, very odd and fun and yeah, and apparently scary.
Does Alan Shepard still listen to this? Alan, if you're listening, I bet you're a big Free to Be You and Me guy.
He does strike me as someone who may have grown up listening to Free to Be You and Me. I could see that. He's a little younger than us, but still.
Oh, okay. I always forget because he's so wise behind his years.
Yeah. He's a doctor, and I forget sometimes that I'm so old that I can be older than a doctor.
I thought you were going to say I forget sometimes that I'm not a doctor.
That too. Yeah. I'm so intelligent and have learned so much in life that I feel like sometimes I must be a doctor, right?
Hi, John.
There he is.
Hi.
Hey,
Are you
what's
watching the
up,
World
buddy?
Series?
Yeah.
Well, a little bit.
Yeah.
We watched the first game, right?
Yeah.
I'd like it if the Braves won, bring it to the NL.
Yeah.
But
Who are the
some-
Braves playing? The Red Sox?
So,
they're playing the Houston Astros, right?
Oh, I love that team.
In the World Series, Mike. The winner of this series is the best baseball team in the entire world.
Well, I hope they both have fun.
Get some food in there.
Didn't
John,
that
what are you going to be for Halloween?
cheat to win the last World Series?
The Astros did cheat. And,
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. They
that
did.
makes me not want them to win. Although, I mean, I think it's probably all different players and management now, but
Yeah.
still, they
John,
don't-
what are you going to be for Halloween?
No, probably not. He wants to know what you're going to be for Halloween. It's a little hard to explain. It's a character that he created himself,
Okay,
Oh, wow.
and this is part of the costume.
I like it.
Greta, do you want to show them your costume? Greta's down on the floor.
I think I saw Greta's costume on Instagram.
I did put up a picture on Instagram. So now, at least.
All right, Greta's playing us out. All right.
All right. On that note,
John,
Wow, why do you do that?
she's being a kitty, I think. She's a kitty.
You just
Mhm.
got my leg and started
Oh.
pulling it.
Okay. All right. Well, it may be time to go.
all right, guys.
With
I've had a good time.
our goodbye theme music.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween! Thank you. I'm glad we got to do this again. It's been too long.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
Did we already lose Mike?
Nope, I'm still here.
Oh, okay. Well, it just says your name on my screen. Oh, there you are. Look,
There we go. Hey.
one last jump scare.
All right.
All right, guys. Well,
Bye, everyone.
have a fun and happy Halloween, and I hope to see you soon.
Absolutely. Later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.